Hey everyone, welcome to Ashish Unique Mindset. So in this video, I'll be talking about a concept called which I term as input-output paradox. So this topic is quite close to me because I felt it myself when I was struggling and going through hard times in life. That there is a person is experiencing something, and the world will always be perceiving that person as something. So whenever a person goes out of their way, even though when they are struggling or they're going through hardships, they have to come up with the outside world. So this is the time when the outside world views the output. What does the person is bringing to the table? What the person is really about? Is the aura good? Is the energy positive? And that is very difficult to convey that in at a time when you yourself are quite down and you yourself have very less love for yourself. So this is the time, friends, when the output is quite negative and people will not look at the inputs what the person is actually going through, because nobody has the time or the resources to actually, or the largely we are living in a world where emotional intelligence is also not that high. So people overlook these situations and rather judge a person in what the person is really capable of. Are they bringing value? So in these trying times, what I felt was it's very important to be assertive in what you feel and what you uh, believe yourself to be. Don't try to uh, cut the parts of you which are not confident enough, not good enough, and just come as you are. So this will not only cut down on the stress that one has to go through in such times in order to be presentable, in order to be impressionable to other people, but also saves a lot of energy in actually conveying what the person believes in, truly believes in, and what the core philosophy of a person is. Even though the person is going through necessarily hard times or stressful times, a person has to be assertive in objectives, at least after the person has gone through the struggles. So every struggle can be divided into like three or four categories. Like the one is a deep struggle that is quite personal and reflective, and once a person is out of that struggle, the person goes out in the world to make a living out for himself, largely to seek friendships, to build relationships, and that becomes very difficult when the person himself is not being loved by himself. That is how what the hard times bring about. There is very little, not only confidence, very little of self love that is there. So in such times, the output of a person is quite negative, and when that output of negativity gets reinforced, the person uh, reinforces the belief that what the person was thinking was correct. So to come out of this circle, one must be vulnerable and real and authentic, because if the person is not that, the world will invariably see the output which is correct according to the given situations. But inputs are much more nuanced. People, barring the close ones, do not look into the inputs, what make a person, and inputs are distinct for everyone, unique for everyone. Inputs are something personal. Inputs, like, we have not chosen this life for ourselves, friends. It has come upon us. So how can everything be generalized and categorized into one thing? So when I was obese, friends, when I was overweight and obese, I found out that in order to come meaningful in this world, I have to develop my habit so that I appear meaningful in course of time. In my job, to be meaningful in my the relationships that I build in meaningful, in my friendships that I build, in meaningful in so many aspects of life, in the micro activities. By micro activities, I mean every person must have a very strong small framework of activities that they must do, so that the continuously going on, that doesn't get imposed on the person. If the habits, the micro activities are taken care of, then most of the outputs will are manageable. Most of the outputs that the outside world will actually see are manageable and controllable. The food that you eat, the workout routine that you follow, the books that you read, the morning time that you spend with yourselves, the kind of social interactions one must have, one must desire for. So all these things have to be inculcated by yourself and through yourself, through the small habits at one. That is how lifestyle gets built. That is how one sustains the actual activities and meaningful activities that one must do in life. So this is an imperative, friends. The world will see the output as is, and it will always be invariably, unfortunately, correct. Because and nobody can convince the other person that what you're thinking of me is not right, what you're thinking of me is incorrect. And one has to sustain in the world also. One cannot always say that I am not interested in what you think about me, because eventually one has to uh, mix with the world in order to generate anything in life. One cannot be totally separate from everything. One has to go out and earn a living for himself, of themselves. So, and life is one, guys. Like, it's not a different bracketed thing. And I also believe that life is a singular entity, friends. It's not a sum of distinct activities, because everything is a subset of life. Your work is a subset of life. Your habits are a subset of life. What you think about everything is a subset of life. It's not distinct from life. It's not something that I do something from Monday to Friday and live an entirely different life on Saturdays and Sundays, and live again a different life from Mondays to Fridays. So this causes division, segregation in life. How can the output be aligned? Because the inputs are not aligned. Because if the habits are not aligned from Mondays to Fridays, and even though I compensate or do not compensate for those habits on Saturdays and Sundays, and again we go back to the same lifestyle from Mondays to Fridays, it will be very difficult to control or manage the outputs, because the inputs are haphazardly arranged by ourselves. It is not taken care of by ourselves. And the story that I shared, friends, we are all walking different paths of life. We are all trading different paths. Some are feeling strong, some are feeling a bit weak, some are feeling down. So what I do believe in, every path that there has to be a separate approach to every path. That when we are really out of self-love, then there must be a separate talk, that what must do, how, and if one is really out of a sudden having a bad time in life, and how to be assertive. And so this framework was told to be by one of my very close psychotherapists. So they did not have a particular solution to the problem that I was going through, but they did tell me one thing, that to be assertive and to be forthright in what I feel, and what I truly believe in. So even though I was obese and I was not feeling good about myself, once I got the framework of how to do the right things in life, I chose wisely in 2016. And do refer to the transformation video, friends. If someone is new and watching this, that once I got the framework, I knew that I had the wherewithal to continue with this, because the obese person is the real hero. Is the real hero, because and I really look up to the version of me that is that person, because that person really walked the path that was actually hard. That was there was hardly any love for himself or from others in that time. There was nobody to that person could say that this is something I have done. So I really thank my family for all the efforts that they have done and the love that they showed me during those times, because I couldn't see the love back then, even though it was there. So it is essential that we do look into ourselves, look into the inputs and how the world perceives every activity that we do, and have a heart to heart conversation and convey the same. Have a great life ahead. Thank you for watching.